What's happening, everybody? Ryan Thomas here, live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, broadcasting live on YouTube. And you guys will hear this on audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as Spotify, which is my personal favorite. You can download the show on any one of those audio podcasting platforms. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Thomas Take Sports Podcast. You can find it, of course, subscribing to the show on YouTube as well as Facebook, liking the Facebook page. You get instant alerts whether you subscribe to the YouTube channel or whether you like the Facebook page. So that's what it's all about. I want you guys to stay as informed as possible with any, content that I put out. We are inching closer to the NFL draft. I will have a ton of NFL draft content as I do every year. Come NFL draft time as well. Fantasy baseball. I got my Boston Red Sox hat on. I'm geared up, revved up, ready to go for baseball season. I love baseball. It's always been a sport that's been, near and dear throughout the years. So, but I had to hop on here today. There's no time to talk about baseball right now. There's no time at all. I'm not talking about baseball right now. What we have to discuss on the show tonight is none other than this massive trade. And I just want to start off by saying that this offseason has been nothing short of an off season. No team has taken off. Each team has only tried to get better since last season ended a month and a week ago. Each team has only tried to make as many moves as possible, to make their team better for next season. And throughout the show, I want to remind you guys to constantly, throughout this show, fire away your comments, respond to what I'm providing you guys as far as commentary on the show on any topic, but this topic in particular, just when I thought this offseason couldn't get any crazier, just when I thought this offseason couldn't get any more wild than it has been, this is the craziest NFL offseason, the most wild NFL offseason of my lifetime. I stand firm with that statement. I can't remember an offseason in recent memory that has been as crazy as this one, this unexpected as this one. This offseason has just been insane. What has taken place as far as big name players being moved, massive players being moved over the course of this offseason. Guys like Davante Adams, guys like Deshaun Watson. And that's what this show is in regards to. Von Miller coming to Buffalo. You guys already heard my thoughts on that. I had to hop right on when I heard that news. But today, Deshaun Watson was traded to the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to be peeling the onion of this massive trade because this trade, it deserves the breakdown necessary. This does deserve a multifaceted breakdown. And the breakdown consists of the trade itself, the compensation, the player in question, Deshaun Watson, and the story of the trade is not the trade to me. The real story is something beyond that. And I want to take the time out of my night tonight, Friday night, March 18th, to discussing that story beyond the trade, as well as the optics of the deal and what this deal means for the NFL today. So this is going to be a half-hour-long show where I talk about this trade, discuss the ins and outs of it, peel the onion that is this massive trade, this massive news, and go from there. So this is going to be a fun one of Deshaun Watson finally being traded. And this was a situation that it was ugly with Houston, with Watson. He demanded to be moved. He missed all of last season, largely in part due to off-the-field circumstances where there were over 20 accusers of sexual assault towards Deshaun Watson. 20 women came out and said that, there were situations, to put it mildly, where Deshaun Watson was in question. And he missed the season last year because of it. And it wasn't missing the season due to a suspension. It was missing the season due to the legal matters that resulted in those accusations, as well as his disagreement with the Houston Texans and the direction of the Houston Texans franchise. He never wanted to play for Houston again. So I mentioned that because of the fact that he wasn't suspended last year, which means he very well, more likely than not, will be suspended this season. And could be 4 games, could be 6 games, could be 8 games. And that's what really makes this trade one of the most mind-blowing trades that I have ever seen, based on the compensation of the trade. The compensation of Watson's trade from the Cleveland Browns to the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans got what they wanted. They asked and they shall receive 3 first-round draft choices for Deshaun Watson. 3 first-round picks. They'll have 2 first-round picks for the next 3 years. So that's 6 first-round draft choices, including their own, obviously. They will have, as well, a extra second and an extra 4th. So 2 seconds, 2 fourths these next few years as well, including their own, as I should say. So they're getting an extra second, an extra 4th. What blows my mind about this deal is, in order for Watson to be traded, partially why Watson wanted to be traded was because he did want a new contract as well with Houston, and he didn't want to sign on the dotted line long-term with Houston because he didn't enjoy the direction of the franchise, right? So wherever he was going to go, the team that was going to get him was going to give him a long-term deal, and it was going to be for a lot of money. So that long-term deal consists of the Browns giving $184 million over the first 4 years of his contract, which is a $48 million raise over the $136 million he was scheduled to make over the same 4 years on the previous contract, a $12 million a year raise in that span. Every dollar of Deshaun Watson's 5-year deal, worth $230 million, is fully guaranteed. Now, this sets a new record for the highest guarantee given to an NFL player. The Browns and Watson's agent, David Mulgeta, combined to make history. A player that was held out of action for a full season due to sexual assault allegations was rewarded for those circumstances, rightly or wrongfully, however you guys want to word that your way. But I'll just say this: he was rewarded. He missed a season and got paid. You heard it. Got paid more money. Will be getting paid the most money in NFL history for missing a season due to allegations based on his conduct off the field. Allegations based on his conduct off the field. You got to let the court, weigh in and let that process play itself out. But I think that is first and foremost something that I want to address. Compensation is insane. What Houston was able to acquire for Watson, a quarterback that was never going to play for them again, quarterback that didn't play it down for them last year, that actually left the franchise in the dust, they got to be doing the happy dance. And I know Houston is terrible. The Texans are going to be bad for probably the next, 3-4 years. I'll say this: if they draft right, the Houston Texans could be better a lot sooner than what they originally had planned. The Houston Texans could be a much better team in quicker fashion with the amount of first-round draft picks that they will have. And if they hit on those picks, it's up to their GM to help them do that. But they got what they wanted. But I posted this on Twitter, and it's just a simple @RyanThomasTake tweet on Twitter. I've been very active on Twitter. I want to thank the 2,000 plus followers that I have that have interacted with me over the course of the last, 4 or 5 years since I made my Twitter. Reluctantly, I will add. I was a little bit hesitant to get on there because it is a dumpster fire on occasion. @RyanThomasTake at 4:21 p.m. I tweeted, "This might be the dumbest trade I have seen in a long, long time." And I say that for the Cleveland Browns because the Cleveland Browns and the player that they traded for, Deshaun Watson, the player, I like Deshaun Watson, the player. The player, there is a lot to like. He's mobile, he's accurate, he's got a cannon, he can throw on the run, he's smart with the football, and he's just he can move the chains. He's a chain moving quarterback. He's that type of guy that can really put an offense on his back with very little talent around him and make things happen. He's proven that in the 3 years of starting action that he's shown in Houston. But based on the compensation, 3 first-round picks, based on the money, what has Watson done in 2+ years to warrant that contract? What has Watson done in a year to warrant that contract other than damage his own reputation within the NFL? I think the deal is what it is, and the deal is what it always will be. A bad precedent for the NFL, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but as far as the player goes, did Cleveland, okay, going from Baker Mayfield to Deshaun Watson, did Cleveland get that much better? I think they did. I think Watson is an improvement over Mayfield, but not so much to say that, oh, you would need 3 first-round picks, a second and a fourth, and $230 million to just push across the table towards Deshaun Watson to say that Watson is that much more your guy than Baker is silly, is crazy. And I am no Baker Mayfield fan. I've thought he was overrated since his days at Oklahoma. And he was very good at Oklahoma. He was a very good college quarterback. Watson was a good college quarterback too. I thought Mayfield was probably the worst first overall draft choice based on that draft and based on picking Baker Mayfield first overall. I just did not think that that was a very valid pick by the Browns, that it was forced. It was a little corny, dare I say, that they took Baker Mayfield first overall. But in terms of improvement and getting better, did the Browns get better going from Mayfield to Watson? They did. How much better? Did they get so much better that it warranted trading 3 firsts, a second, and a fourth, and $230 million? That's a stretch. That's a stretch. If I'm general manager Ryan Thomas and I need a quarterback, and I know Mayfield ain't our guy, I'm not trading 3 first-round draft choices. I'm not trading a second. I'm not trading a fourth. And I sure as hell am not signing that player that was out of season, that wasn't suspended, out of season, that could quite possibly, very well, more than likely, 100% be suspended in his first year of the highest paid contract for a quarterback. It's an embarrassing moment for the National Football League. It's an embarrassing moment for Baker Mayfield. It's an embarrassing moment for Cleveland Browns fans. I don't know many Cleveland Browns fans, but if I did, if I knew many Cleveland Browns fans, I would say, I'm sorry. I would say, I wish this didn't happen for you guys, because I think this is going to set the Cleveland Browns back long-term in epic proportions. Yes, maybe in the short term, Deshaun Watson does provide that jolt of energy, the adrenaline shot that they feel like they need, but he's certainly not going to be doing it year one when he's suspended for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Maybe even more. Who's to say? Who is to say? Who is to say more or less? Who is to say? But Cleveland Browns fans, they've been through a lot. I mean, they lost their team. They got their team back. And really, since the Browns came back in the NFL, I hate to say this, but they have been a joke. They have been the laughingstock of the NFL. And I think very few people today, if they are, please point me in their direction. I want to meet them. I want to talk to them. I want to try to understand a human being that comes away from this trade thinking that the Browns made out like bandits. The Browns got fleeced. The Browns fleeced themselves. Saying that they got fleeced is like saying that, Houston earned the right to, Houston got them. No, Houston named their price, and Cleveland was the only team dumb enough to meet the price. The hometown team that Deshaun Watson wanted to play for wasn't willing to meet that price. They were willing to say, no, we're not doing that. That's a lot to take on. Not only do we have to give up X, Y, and Z, pick A, B, C, D, E, F, but we have to pay him more than what he's making right now, which is quite a lot. We have to pay him more than that. Man, that's a lot to take on. Jimmy Haslam says, hold my beer. Let's do it. And they did it. God, did they do it. And Cleveland Browns fans have to be thinking to themselves, we have to convince ourselves that this is a decent move. We have to convince ourselves that this was the right decision, because if we don't, we're not true fans. No, you're wrong. I've been a fan of the Buffalo Bills since I could throw a football, okay? And they made stupid decision after stupid decision after stupid decision that propelled them en route to a 17-year playoff drought. I don't have to go through all the bad decisions they made because there's so many. We'll start off with Todd Collins. We'll start off with Johnson over Flutie. We'll start off with J.P. Lossman. We'll start off, where do you want me to go? Bad coaches. Greg Williams, Mike Mularkey, Doug Marrone, Dick Duran. Where do you want me to stop? I could keep going, but I'm not going to relive it because it was awful. Browns fans have been going through the same thing, and then this happens. The light is at the end of the tunnel for the Cleveland Browns, talent-wise, on paper. Over the last few years, what they've done has been pretty solid. Nick Chubb, great player, great pick. Myles Garrett, great player, great pick. Baker Mayfield, first overall in 2018, you say, okay, they took their guy first overall. They got their guy, and shame on you, Cleveland, for giving Baker Mayfield a high school career as your quarterback. 4 seasons, a freshman year, a sophomore year, a junior year, and a senior year, only to graduate from that dumpster fire to go wherever he goes, wherever Baker Mayfield goes. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this on this show right now. What I'm about to say, I feel sorry for Baker Mayfield right now. I never thought I'd say that. I'm not a fan of Baker Mayfield, but boy, did the Cleveland Browns do Baker Mayfield dirty. Dirty. They did him dirty. Flat out dirty. Tossed him to the side of the road like a bag of garbage. I don't know. They basically littered Baker Mayfield. Just dumped him off. He's hitchhiking with his thumb out, waiting for a new ride to his new spot. Unbelievable. I can't believe this. I am still trying to wrap my head around the fact that this trade happened on top of the I'm trying to, you hear this news, you hear that Watson's traded to the Browns. That's wow. He's on the Browns. Then you think, what's the compensation? You hear the compensation, you say, holy shit, why'd they give up so much for him? Then you hear the money, you say, what are you doing, Cleveland? What is going on? And now I'll get into the story of the trade, which is Baker Mayfield's next stop. Now, when this all really broke and that it became apparent that the Browns were this third mystery team in the mix for Deshaun Watson, it became apparent to me that if that was the case, Baker Mayfield was going to respond, because that's what Baker Mayfield does. He likes to interact. He likes to let his opinion be known. And that's to his credit, and that is to his fault that he lets his opinion be known in the form and fashion that he does, in the sense that he's just a very, shall I say, brash, opinionated quarterback. And some teams don't want that. Some teams want a guy that just keeps his mouth shut, goes to work every day, reads the playbook, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Baker Mayfield's not doing that. Baker Mayfield is marching to the beat of his own drum. And that is what Baker Mayfield has always done. That is what sold Cleveland on the possibility of having Baker Mayfield and ultimately selecting him first overall. So to me, Cleveland made their bed taking Baker Mayfield first overall. And they had to lay in it. And rather than laying in it, they set it on fire. They tried to put out the fire, and it was too late. Baker Mayfield was already burnt to a crisp. And then he responds. He puts out this little blurb letter typed out on an iPhone, which is how a lot of these players do it these days. Posts the letter, says thanks to the Cleveland fans, says, I don't know what direction I'm going in, but as soon as I know, you guys will know, and all that stuff. And I felt sorry for the guy. I really did. But you want to talk about a guy that, walked on to Texas Tech, walked on to Oklahoma, became the first overall pick. The credit there is worthy credit, won the Heisman Trophy. The chip on Baker Mayfield's shoulder has to be the size of, it's got to be a boulder at this point right now. So I'm very curious to see where he goes. I think the energy and effort that the next team is able to pull out of Baker Mayfield, that could be better than what the Browns will pull out of Deshaun Watson. And that is something that is another layer of this onion that I'd like to peel. Is that, yes, the effort that Baker Mayfield, the results of Baker Mayfield this first few years in Cleveland weren't what Cleveland wanted and what they thought they were getting out of their first overall pick. But hey, you just gave Baker Mayfield motivation. You moved on from him. He's still on the roster. And that's my next point with the optics of this deal. What was Cleveland really thinking in this deal? I have a theory here. This is the theory of the Watson, Mayfield, Browns situation. The theory is this. The theory is that the Cleveland Browns knew that they wanted Watson. They wanted to get better at quarterback. They wanted to break into the top upper echelon of the AFC with Kansas City, with Buffalo. And there was a quarterback out there that could make them better. Watson will make them better. Talent-wise, he is far more talented than Baker Mayfield. He's just a better player all around. Is he much, much better? No, but he is better. And better is if a guy's better, that's a guy that you got to consider going out and getting, no matter who you have. In that respect, I understand it. But then you get in the nitty-gritty of what the trade would have been. You get in the nitty-gritty of what the contract would demand, and you say to yourself, yes or no, and Cleveland just continued to say yes. They wanted to move on from Baker Mayfield. But I truly believe that Cleveland is so much out of their goddamn minds that they thought, we go out, we trade for Deshaun Watson, we get him. We convinced Baker Mayfield that, okay, we have this new quarterback. Yes, this is him, Deshaun Watson. You know him. He's our guy now. We're giving him a lot of money that we're not giving to you. But you're still under contract with us. And we're not going to get what we want out of you in a trade. So we understand this quarterback we just acquired is going to be suspended for 6 to 8 weeks, I think. That's what I've heard. And that's what I think is fair based on the conduct off the field, whether he was innocent, whether he was guilty. It still happened. His name was dragged through the mud. He was an embarrassment to the Texans, and he should be punished for that, regardless of this. Just conduct detrimental to the team is the phrase. So I think Watson will be suspended. But going back to my point, I think the Cleveland Browns thought, if we get Watson and we'll keep Baker Mayfield on the team, he's on the team, he's under contract, we're not going to get what we want from a Mayfield trade in terms of what we think Mayfield is valued at. Let's keep Baker Mayfield for the first 6 weeks of the year. We trade him at the trade deadline. He's got some tape on him. He'll be in demand. And we'll get what we want in a Baker Mayfield trade. Plus, we'll have a better quarterback, best backup quarterback in the NFL, playing games for us while Deshaun Watson is waiting in the wings to return. I think Cleveland is that insane to think that. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that that makes sense. I'm saying that Cleveland is that insane and that stupid to think that Baker Mayfield is that dumb to do something like that, Whereas Baker Mayfield nipped the issue right in the butt and said, I'm going to thank the fans. I'm going to go out of my way, thank the fans, say what I need to say, move forward, and move on. Let them know that I want to be traded. And we heard the rumor. We heard that, okay, they're in on Watson. Mayfield responds via thanking the fans, saying, I think my time in Cleveland is up essentially, and that I want to thank you guys. That was the gist of it. And paraphrasing, but that was the gist of it. And Mayfield demands a trade, and his trade request was denied. And then the Browns get Deshaun Watson. And now, quote unquote, Baker Mayfield is free to find any trade that he wants. Well, it takes two to tango. It doesn't take a player to just find the right team. It takes the team to find the right team at the right price for the player that they have. That's how a trade works. So I don't know how the situation is going to pan out. Cleveland will be Cleveland. Cleveland will do Cleveland things, and that's what they did today. This is one of the dumbest trades I've seen in a long, long time. Will Cleveland be better? How much better? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. But what I do know is years from now, we'll look back on this trade and say this actually happened. I mean, a player that was out of commission for a year due to accusations that not one, not two, 22 women threw this man's name out there and said this, and this. Ultimately, in court, things moved in one direction, and he's looking to get back into the league now. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have a second chance. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is he sure as hell didn't deserve not just he didn't even get a slap on the wrist. You know, they say, oh, you got a slap on the wrist. He got a raise. He got a raise. Won't have problems paying the legal fees from this situation based on the contract that he just got. And that is the optics of this deal. And the NFL today, the Cleveland Browns have exhibited behavior while trying to make their team better that is spit in the face of pretty much every other organization that's trying to do business the right way, trying to be classy, trying to make the NFL a better place than what it was in years past for whatever reason, just trying to make the league better. And Cleveland is making the league look horrible, making the highest paid player in the NFL, Deshaun Watson, giving a guy like Kareem Hunt, who was on tape kicking a woman in the face in Cleveland as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs at the time, back home in Cleveland. That's what he was doing at home in Cleveland, given the second chance to go back to the NFL with the Cleveland Browns. Oh, it happened here. We'll get people on it. However they went about it, it was terrible. Shouldn't have got a second chance. In those situations, why would someone be given a second chance? Name one reason. Outside of his talent. I can't name one. Would I get a second chance at life if something like that happened to me? No. But can I run the football like Kareem Hunt? No, I can't. There you go. 2 + 2. 1 + 1. You get the point. So I feel somewhat disgusted by this news, to be honest with you. I think the trade was stupid. I think Cleveland is not a good look for the NFL right now. And I really feel that Cleveland fans should jump ship. Jump ship. Jimmy Haslam is running this team like it's just an everyday joke. And I think jump ship, go to Cincinnati, jump ship. Hey, join the mafia. We'll welcome you with open arms. I don't know. I'm not a fan of fans that jump ship, but man, I feel for Cleveland's fans because they've went through very similar ordeals to what Bills fans have: heartbreak, pain, suffering, losing seasons. And that's not fun stuff. I know that firsthand, but this is just a slap in the face to Cleveland fans. And I think Baker Mayfield was a good fit for Cleveland, did have that edge to him, did have that bravado. Do I think Baker Mayfield is great? No. On his best day, he's good. That's for sure. On his best day, he's good. On his best day, he's fair. He's regressed heavily. I will say that you do have to throw in there the optics of this deal being Baker Mayfield's shoulder. What is going on with that shoulder? We haven't heard much about it. Over the course of the last, 2-3 months, he was shut down in parts of the season, and he's been battling that injury for the better part of the last 2 years. So what version of Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield right now? Is Baker Mayfield damaged goods? Did the Cleveland Browns know that? If that's the case, and that does change what I'm talking about a little bit, but it still doesn't change the fact that you traded XYZ for Deshaun Watson and you paid him more money than has been paid to any other player in the National Football League. It's a true testament that talent that brings you into the NFL can not only bring you so far in life, it can bring you through things in life that not the average person could get away with. And on this mega deal, Deshaun Watson will more likely than not miss almost half of the first season of this massive, massive contract, $46 million a year. Do I think the Browns are AFC contenders with this trade? The Browns have been referring to themselves as AFC contenders since they first drafted Baker Mayfield. And look where that got them, right here. So Cleveland will be Cleveland. I have no idea what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing. And if they don't know what they're doing, then they're not going to get from point A to point B. They've had so much talent on this team on paper over the course of the last 3-4 years, and they have squandered it. You can point the finger at Haslam. You can point the finger at Baker Mayfield. But 4 years is not enough to prove that you're worthy of anything, let alone for anyone, especially a first overall pick quarterback. If you feel like he wasn't the right guy, shame on you for taking him first overall. You should be punished, and they're going to be punished by not having a first-round draft choice for the next 3 years and Deshaun Watson's ridiculously stupid large contract. And Baker Mayfield, best of luck to you. I hope Baker Mayfield finds himself in Indianapolis. I think that's the best spot for him. Frank Reich, Baker Mayfield. I think Frank Reich would kind of, I want to say, calm down Baker Mayfield. He's an experienced quarterback coach in the National Football League. He is an experienced quarterback himself, playing for the Bills, the Colts, the Jets, bouncing around. Did he play for the Colts, actually? I don't think. No, Panthers. I'm sorry, Panthers, as well as the Jets. So Frank Reich, I think, would be the right fit for Baker, and I would really enjoy seeing that. I think the Colts, in a roundabout way, it would be bittersweet, poetic justice for the Colts to be able to find their guy when they lost out on their guy, Andrew Luck, due to not being able to put an offensive line in front of them, or neglecting to put an offensive line in front of them, I should say. Still can't get over the fact that Luck retired after only 6 seasons, but that's what happened. They didn't put a team around him, and he got hurt a lot. They went from Luck to Rivers to Brissett to Wentz to possibly Mayfield. And I feel like that would be somewhat a light at the end of the tunnel for them, to find a guy like that with that type of competitive spirit. I'll never root against Baker Mayfield's competitive spirit. I just think he might need to calm it down a little bit and just focus in on the game, get healthy first off, and let the rest kind of take care of itself. He definitely has the skill. It's just a matter, definitely has the will. That's what I should say. He definitely has the will. I just don't know if he quite has the skill. But nonetheless, holy crap, what a trade today for the Cleveland Browns. What a trade for the National Football League. What a momentous, just stupendous day, I should say, for the National Football League. I just don't think this was the right move in this situation to represent this moment. It's sad. It is what it is. I think Cleveland fans should breathe a sigh, not a sigh of relief. I'm Ryan Thomas. That was the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. Thanks for tuning in to my thoughts on Deshaun Watson being moved from Houston to Cleveland in a big, big trade. You can find the Thomas Take Sports Podcast on YouTube as well as Facebook, as well on audio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and my favorite, Spotify. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Thomas Take. Go Bills.